On a winter's day in 1903, on a humble beach in a humble town in North Carolina, the transportation world was changed forever. As the 20th century carried on, the airplane made its mark across the globe, and now people could travel all over the world easier and faster than ever before. This also meant more competition, for to this day, the railroads and airlines continue to compete for the preferred travel option. To the average onlooker, the superior option may seem clear. Very few trains can go as fast as an average jetliner, let alone as far of a distance. But looks can be deceiving, for there is one engine that managed to prove the reliability of the railroads for future generations. This is the story of the engine that beat the airplane. This is the story of the Lindbergh engine. Pennsylvania Railroad number 460 was built in 1914 in the Pennsylvania's Juniata shops as part of the E6 class of 442 Atlantic passenger steam engines, as the last of its class in fact to be built. For much of its early life, it pulled short commuter trains across the Northeast between Washington, D.C. and New York, like the rest of the Pensy's E6 types had. But despite an impressive high speed, soon enough it would seem like not much to write home about. By the mid to late 1920s, large passenger engines such as the 462 Pacific, 464 Hudson, and 484 Northern made the Atlantic type seem small and obsolete. At this point, few American railroads used Atlantics in mainstream passenger service, and those who did made sure that it looked the part and kept up with modern equipment, something that the E6s were starting to seem to lack in. That was until a certain American aviator made headlines. Charles Lindbergh soon became an international household name as the first person to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean from New York to Paris, a feat that would show the potential of the aircraft for years to come, which, as you can guess, was heavily publicized. Upon Lindbergh's return to the States, he was awarded the Flying Cross Medal by President Calvin Coolidge on June 11, 1927. Dozens of news companies covered the story, all of whom wanted to be the first to show their footage in New York theaters. To get there in the fastest time, the majority took their footage by plane, but one company, International Newsreel, decided instead to go by train via the Pennsylvania Railroad. If the Pensy wanted to win out in this time-sensitive dash, they had to get the fastest passenger engine they could find in the Northeast, a responsibility placed on the 80-inch driving wheels of number 460. The train left Washington Union Station at 12:14 p.m., listed on timetables as Extra 460 East, with only a baggage car, a coach, and top priority for the 225 miles to New York. Across counties in Maryland, Delaware, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey, main lines were cleared of slower traffic and reduced speed limits were exceeded for as fast of a run as possible. All the while, the train was cheered on by the crews of parked freights waiting on the sidings. 460 was said to have averaged 74 miles an hour and topped at a maximum speed of 115, and the throttle wasn't even completely open. Only stopping for water after its track pan scoop was damaged, the special arrived at the Manhattan Transfer just under 3 hours later, swapping over to a DD-1 electric engine for the final leg under the Hudson River before ending its journey. Just one problem, however. The airplanes landed in New York first. So does that mean the train lost? Not exactly. Back in the day, old photos and film had to be developed in what's called a darkroom to be viewed by the public. Although the film taken by the aircraft made it to New York first, it still had to be developed, whereas the baggage car that was on 460's train was fitted with a darkroom prior to the event, meaning that the film was able to be developed while on the journey, allowing International Newsreel to show their film just 15 minutes after arrival and hours before the competition. 460 had won the race, subsequently going under its new nickname, the Lindbergh engine. As you'd expect, the railroad took great pride in their publicity following the event, and 460 continued to run fast passenger runs across the Northeast on the Pennsylvania and its subsidiaries, the Long Island and Pennsylvania Reading seashore lines, until its eventual retirement in 1955. Thankfully, due to its historical relevance, 460 was sent to Northumberland, where the rest of the Penske's preserved locomotive fleet was kept. That was until fall of 1969, when the whole roster was moved from Northumberland to its present home of the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania, just across the street from the Strasburg Railroad. Then, on December 17, 1979, 460 was added to the National Register of Historic Places, and given various repairs and even a cosmetic restoration between 1982 and 2016. To this day, you can find 460 in the museum as a lasting reminder of the capabilities of train travel. If there was ever a feel-good, comeback, underdog story in railroad history, this is certainly it.